Okay, the last in the series of ideas about AI that I've had recently is one of domain expertise and kind of seeing that I think the industry is really doing great work here with AI. I've been critical of the industry overall and how AI fits into all of our work now. But I've seen often that when people have ideas and they, at my company, we're at the forefront. I'm not executive, so I won't like slather on AI praise, but we are like one of the early users. Like we're almost beta testers for a lot of these companies just from our positioning in the industry. But I've started to see often that there's these ideas of, oh, we should do this thing and maybe that'll improve the AI. And then it's quite funny because then like a month later, like this, no one's like stealing our ideas, to be clear here. It's mostly also like a lot of us are going and reading tech stuff and papers, and then we're having our own ideas, and it takes a while to come from an idea to implementation. And a lot of people are going and running off and like, okay, maybe this thing would help with the AI. And then you'll see a month later, this flagship tool is now doing this thing, and I find that quite funny. But there's also these ideas where I'm like, that's not a good idea. That's not how you should do this thing. And the industry doesn't necessarily adopt those ideas. And not to say I'm always right about which ideas are good or bad. Just that now I'm taking the approach that if something is not working in a tool, I'm not going to go try to make it better, because any idea that I've had that is good gets rolled out. An idea I had a while back is automatic context compression. Bam, rolled right into Copilot. There's a button. You just click it. These sorts of things. I'm no longer going to try to bolt on functionality to these tools, because the tool vendor should make this the most intuitive and useful and easy to use for me, the user, because that's what my company is paying for, going through these vendors. But we still have other ideas. But okay, so I feel like the industry is realizing this thing, and I want to nail down, not to gain credit, but there's domain expertise and there's chunks of domain expertise, and AI is a generalized tool by default. So your AI, my AI, we all just have this generalist, and it's like a college student that has so much potential, but they haven't learned anything yet. And you could pluck them, like internship, you could pluck them out of college and they haven't learned anything, any skills, and go throw them at a project, and they'll bumble through it, and maybe they'll be able to go discover in that domain. They'll read the docs, they'll look at the code, and maybe they kind of sort of come up with something, and it's always just a little off. And that's kind of how AI feels. Like it can do anything. It can go discover and infer and make guesses on your domain and extrapolate and combine with commonalities and all of these things. But without directly defining domain expertise, and not in one-off prompts, which again, this is a thing that we're starting to realize, but saying, okay, for this domain, you're now no longer a generalist. You have this domain expertise that we're injecting, and this is the new skill model I'm feeling like, where we have a skill that says this domain is this way, and we gather this from a domain expert, and we make an agent or sub-agent or whatever now an expert on that domain. And I think that people are going to realize domain discovery, as I'm kind of calling it, and that kind of a sort of a term, is equivalent to hallucination risk and variability in effectiveness. And I don't think we should have generalizations like this. And I'll get into this in the next point, just because I'm running out of time, because I rambled too much on the first point. So click on part 2 if you want to hear what I'm envisioning now and what I see the industry heading towards in this like skill-based, packetized domain expertise, instead of just throw a generalist model at a problem, starting to say, know this part and do this specific thing in your role.